Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to a few of you. Welcome to today's community briefing. My name is Gregory Sneed. Today is the 6th of July in the year 2023. We're glad you're here to join us. And we have our guest today is Jessica McConico. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly.
Yes, you did.
All right, fabulous. Good. I'm off to a good start. Hopefully everyone had a good 4th of July, Independence Day. Can't say weekend because it was in the middle of the week. Hopefully, had some good barbecue, some good fun, and hopefully the fireworks and the explosions didn't disturb you too bad. My company is Lifesaver Financial Services, and I help my clients keep more of the money they make. And I do that through financial solutions and strategies that take advantage of tax codes, take advantage of getting you feeling better about your money, because I firmly believe that when you feel better about your money, you feel better about your life. Now, it's my pleasure to bring to the virtual stage the queen of our community briefing, Miss Crystal Mitchell.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to have you. Beginning July, 4th of July, all of that lovely stuff. The getting rid of the affirmative action, being made to feel like really big black folks in the United States. Um, Welcome to the community briefing. We are here to meet our leaders and stakeholders and people that are making things happen in our community. This platform was created primarily so that we can network with each other and also meet the people that are sitting at the tables making decisions about what's going on with our lives, our businesses, our communities, and we have some input. So it's an inspiration of mine during the pandemic or at the very beginning of the pandemic. We wanted it's powered by Recycling Black Dollars and the BBA, the Black Business Association, as well as financially in my powered by Southern California Edison, Wells Fargo Bank, and PCR in Los Angeles, LDC. Want to welcome you. This is your platform, so please put your information in the chat and questions of our great guest today. I just love this young lady. She is our future, and so I'm just inspired every time I speak with her because she for recycling black dollars, she embodies the whole recycling black dollars. She understands it, and that's what her business is about. So, love you, girl. All right, back to you and our team. I don't know what happened to Stephen, Mr. Stephen Turner. He goes out and makes all this happen with our guests, so we definitely want to give him a rah rah and a hand clap. And Mr. Gregory Sneed, who's here to host us every Thursday at 11 a.m. And Miss Robin Billups, she's still going through some health stuff, but she should be back soon. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Greg. And hello, Roslyn.
All right, all right. So, uh, yeah, I'll comment about the affirmative action thing later. So, today our guest is Ms. Jessica McConico, and she specializes in being an online financial literacy brand. She has a Jai Got Soul studio, which is the home of Black Money Matters, Act Like It, a brand, a clothing brand, and a credit counseling service. So if your credit won't get it, she can help you out. The Black Money Matters Act Like It brand offers credit counseling to youth and young adults through one-on-one coaching. Our clients learn practical credit repair tools to enhance their quality of life. It looks like she's been doing that formally since 2019. So for the last 3 years, almost 4 years now. Congratulations. She has the Jai Got Soul studio, and she's a production executive there. She's previously worked with the Los Angeles County Department of Children and Family Services as a children's social worker, also the Genesee Center as a program advocate. And let's see, she's got education. She's got a master's of science from the University of Phoenix in marriage and family therapy counseling. and also a Bachelor's of Applied Science from Talladega College in psychology. Anything else? Did I miss anything else? Any other educational activities there?
Nope, I'm gonna cover all of that. So
You gonna cover all that?
yeah.
Okay. So without further delay, I'm gonna bring to the virtual stage Ms. Jessica McConico.
Thank you so much. Can you guys hear and see me okay?
Yes.
Let me know. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen, bring up my presentation right now. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for that warm welcome, Gregory. Thank you to the community briefing for this opportunity. I know that my bio sounds a little all over the place, so I'm gonna clear it up for you guys right now. So as he stated, my name is Jessica McConico, but I'm also known as J Got Soul. And I am the founder of J Got Soul Studio LLC, the home to the Black Money Matters Act Like It brand. A little bit of background about me. I am a LA native. I am from the Crenshaw district, and I attended Junipero Serra High School in Gardena, where I currently serve as the girls' head basketball JV coach. I attended Salem International in West Virginia for a short stint of time, and then I transferred to Talladega College in Alabama, where I earned my Bachelor's of Science in Psychology, as well as a national championship title in women's basketball. So I am a HBCU graduate, and I love my HBCU. So then on, I went to earn a master's in counseling from the University of Phoenix. And so in my 11 years in the workforce, I worked in various capacities such as case management, social work, and administration. I worked a lot with at-risk youth, which is one of my main passions. I did some work with domestic violence survivors at Genesee. And then I also worked with former foster youth. And so what I did was I transitioned into social entrepreneurship because I recognize a lot of issues usually stem from a lack of resources and money management. And so I developed J Got Soul to be a digital space that allows me to use my creativity to bring awareness to these nuanced issues. So a couple ways that we do that is through media, through merchandise, and community. So I'm going to show you guys one of the projects that I've worked on, and it's titled Unbroken. So I took the opportunity to share my own personal story. So I'm gonna share a snippet with you guys right now. Can you let me know if you can hear this clearly? You guys hear that?
So I think you need to stop the share.
Stop the share.
And then when you go to share again, at the bottom left will be a little box that says share audio.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, let's try this again. How about now?
Yes.
Well, I grew up in South LA, Crenshaw district, and during that time, we were a little unstable. We grew up during the aftermath of the war on drugs.
Effort against the mob. We need to take these people on. They are often connected to big drug cartels. They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators.
Fed by violence and nourished on rigid rules of respect, gangs both protect and terrify the few blocks they have staked out as their own.
Which ushered in the Rodney King era. So during that period, there was a short period where my family and we moved to Alabama. I was able to kind of get an idea of the differences from the city life to the South. The city life taught me that it's a lot slower, it's a lot quieter. You have a chance of having more discipline. I learned a lot of hard work. My family comes from a background of workers. And then in Los Angeles, it was more of a fast-paced, very loud, very chaotic, a lot of drugs, a lot of gangbanging, and then there was sports.
Okay, so what you just seen is my very own short documentary that I executive produced myself. So that's a part of the media side to what we do. So you can find that on J Got Soul on my YouTube channel. And it's 15 minutes, and I share a little bit about my mental health journey and trying to show people that there's not a face to mental health. There's a lot of unaddressed issues that lead to mental health. And so I wanted to use my own story to share that. So I created that for awareness, right? So as I stated, we use media, merchandise, and community. And our primary message is that Black money matters, act like it. So we raise awareness to financial literacy through the Black Money Matters movement. And so this movement began in 2017 when I decided to join a group called Pages, the Reading Group. We would choose good books and have even better dialogue about those books. The Pages community sparked the curiosity of Black Wall Street. And so I was very fascinated with how Greenwood, Oklahoma became one of the most prominent hubs for Black businesses. And during that time period, I also learned that the Supreme Court had ruled in favor of separate but equal, which had some implications, but little impact on the success of this community. So I thought, what is stopping us from rebuilding this digital age Black Wall Street? It lit a fire under me. And so I began to write. I'm also a freelance writer, and I wrote Can Black Wall Street Be Resurrected? Parts 1 and 2, which can be found on my website at jgotsoul.com. Then I followed up with Little Africa Reboot. And in these think pieces, I challenge us to revisit Black Wall Street and use it as a mere template for what Black Wall Street of the digital age could look like. So as I stated, we have our online store with merchandise as well that is designed to remind you that Black money matters, act like it. We have t-shirts, we have sweatshirts, we have polos like the one I'm wearing now that says Black money matters, act like it. We have shorts, tote bags, etc. And all of this can be found on my website. So during COVID, the momentum of the movement slowed down. And during that time, I recognized the need to provide practical tools to bring awareness to some basic concepts in terms of financial literacy. So I developed a free worksheet that I give out to all of my customers when I go out and meet folks. And so they learn and grow in their finances just from one purchase. They have that ability to do so. And so right now I'm working on certification. I'm getting deeper into the financial space so I can help the next generation build a healthy financial future. So recently I have hosted 3 events called the Black Money Matters Forum. The first 2, I collaborated with a company called Urban Financial Literacy. And so we just talked about some basic, money principles. And then I was also asked to go and speak at Cal State Long Beach Black Business Association, Black Business Student Association, and go share this information there. And so my plan is to build a tribe of financially responsible young adults as a part of the Black Money Matters movement. Okay, so I need some help with this. I have Black Money Matters trivia. This is a favorite part of my presentation. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask 3 questions and I'm gonna give you multiple choice answers and just put your answer in the chat and then we'll move on. Is that okay with everybody? Awesome. Okay, so the first question, what years did Black Wall Street flourish? So you have A, 1900 to 1950, B, 1907 to 1921, or C, 1920 to 1940? A, B, or C? B, B, okay. Okay, great. Great, okay. So if you said B, you are correct. All right, so the second question, who established Black Wall Street? A, Grover Cleveland, B, O.W. Gurley, or C, Dr. Michael Carter? Okay, so if you said B, you are correct. O.W. Gurley. All right, last question. What happened to Black Wall Street of Tulsa, Oklahoma? A, it was massacred by government and white supremacist mobs. B, the land was stolen, or C, all of the above. Okay, awesome. C, if you said C, you are correct. Thank you guys for participating. That was fun. I definitely enjoyed that part. All right, so back. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is go through some statistics, okay? So this is a consumer finance survey completed in 2019 of the median family net worth estimates by race, ethnicity, and generations. So we all know there's a wealth gap. So I'm not even going to go over that. What I will do though, is I will look at what happened in between these time periods, because what I do want to teach the next generation is that we have to trace patterns so that we can start to create solutions for the future. And so we're going to look at the net worth and what happened in between these time periods, how we got to, the 2800 mark. So in A, the silent generation, radio babies, this was through the World War II, as well as the Great Depression. So during this period, the separate but equal laws were active. And so one of the questions that I have is, if we have the separate but equal laws active and we're able to retain 78,000, then what is happening now? Okay, so the boomer generation, the separate but equal laws were overturned. And during this period between the silent generation and the boomer generation, the net worth dropped by 41%. So during this time period, Martin Luther King was rising. He wanted to dismantle those discriminatory laws and the local and the state laws. Okay, so Generation X. This dismantled the civil rights movement, dismantled the discriminatory laws. But during this period of time, Martin Luther King was assassinated. However, the family median net worth increased by 30%. And what's happening during this time period, we have a lot more celebrities, we have people making a lot more money. But I'm still wondering how we've gotten so far from this number, even as we're making that money. And so during my generation, this is one I know so well, the war on drugs really impacted my generation's ability to increase our net worth. My family, I had some people in my family who actually had, some issues with the war on drugs. And during this period, Ronald Reagan had declared the war on drugs in October of 1982. All of our leadership had been either jailed or they had been assassinated. And that was by the FBI Covert Action Program. And so these are things that I teach my young folks so that they can have an understanding of what the history looks like. But also, we want to go back to the very basic level and teach them what is the primary purpose of money. So we discuss with them money principles. The primary purpose of money is to facilitate transaction by eliminating the need for barter and allowing people to trade goods and services with a common currency. Money also helps in measuring the value of goods and services and provides a convenient way of saving and preserving your wealth. And so I teach them that bartering is okay, but bartering is not going to be able to help us build our generational wealth. And so I break down the barter system to them as well. The barter system is an exchange where goods and services are directly traded for other goods and services without the use of money. And so we talk about what the problem with bartering is, which is we're not circulating any dollars, but instead we're just circulating services. And I get a lot of these young folks who would, spend their whole check and go and buy things such as Louis Vuitton belts, something as small as that, or, a $200 pair of tennis shoes. But then they go to the Black owned store and they say, hey, you my friend, like, can I get a discount? And so I'm really trying to get them out of that mindset. Like, we have to have the same value that we are giving to these other companies in our own community, because that's how we're going to be able to continue to build and sustain our economic structure in our community. So as I stated, I provide a lot of our young adults with our worksheet. And so we'll go through this process on a monthly basis so that they have the understanding of how to track your monthly income, number one, how to calculate your monthly expenses, how to pay yourself a small portion of your income, and then making sure that those expenses are taken care of so you can build that credit, and then using the remaining balance to save and build wealth. So as the reparations conversation comes up, I want to include them in on the conversation. And so I asked them, like, how would we manage that money currently with us looking at where the net worth is and where our community is? How would we manage that money if we were to receive that check, right? And so we talk about that, and my goal is to get them to understand that these are the practical steps to get started so that they can start building for their future. I like to drill in the benefits of what financial literacy can do for them. And so I break it down in 3 steps. First, you have the predictable budgeting. So you don't have any surprises come throughout the month, and you have that ability to build wealth. Second, financial literacy provides you a peace of mind because you know what's coming in and what's going out of your bank account. And last, it provides you with protection for your future. And so we are talking about the next generation. And I think if we can get these young folks focused on the next generation and not so much focused on themselves, then we'll be okay financially moving forward. So as I stated, we also have our merchandise. Here are a couple of items that we also have on our website at jgotso.com. We have our tote bags. Summertime is here. So folks, they're going to the beach, they're going out, they can have picnics and things like that. So we have our large tote bag available. We have our water bottles. We are promoting health, right? Stay hydrated. It is hot out here. So we have our water bottles as well. For our coffee drinkers, we have mugs. We have 2 different sizes, our Black Money Matters mug, and these are reminders for us to understand that circulating our dollars within our community is valuable. Like this shirt I have on now, we have polos available as well. And then we also have some for the ladies, because I know everybody is not into unisex clothing as I am. So we have some for the ladies. And again, my name is Jessica McConico. I can be reached at jloves14@gmail.com, or you can give me a call at 323-762-3435. I'm so appreciative of you guys giving me this opportunity to share my brand with you all. And that is the end of my presentation.
All right, that was great. So if you have questions for Jessica, put them in the chat. With the youth that you're working with, what would you say maybe the top 3 challenges with money, or let's say challenges, and then I'll say I'll get to the second question. But what are the top 3 challenges?
So the first challenge I would say is that they're spending more than they have.
Okay.
I work with various young folks, and we'll go through and it's like, oh, I spent this much. I didn't even have that much. And so that's one of them. The second is changing those habits. They haven't really been given the guidance. And a lot of the youth that I deal with either have been former foster youth as well. And so those kids don't have any parents.
I did. So we sat here
So they don't have any parents to guide them. So we act as, that middle place where they have at least the access to the resources. And lastly, environment. A lot of these young folks are wanting to party. It's that age. And so when everyone is doing it, they don't seem to stay focused long enough. And so those are the main three challenges.
The spending more than is coming in, where is that coming from? What are some of the sources or inspiration for that?
For the children, I mean, the social media.
Social media? Okay.
Yeah, they see a lot of things on social media and then they want it. And so they want to live that same lifestyle. And they don't realize like you don't really have, the money to live that lifestyle, but they're trying to keep up with the major trends, the major influencers. They want to look like them, be like them, with a limited budget.
Is any of it coming from the music?
A lot of it is definitely coming from the music. The music will tell you spend a check in a second, but they're getting advances at their, with their work, with their music, and they're spending money that they don't even have. And I also work in the artistry space as well. I have a podcast as well. And so I deal with a lot of artists and, they're all trying to keep up with the Joneses. It's all about keeping up with followers. It's all about just making yourself look like you are high quality, even if you don't understand how that's going to impact you.
So how does that message get to them, or where does that realization come from? For the either for the music industry, the performers, because they're glamorizing it. Um, and so how does that help? I'm missing that piece. How does that change? Because as long as they're being influenced through social media, as you mentioned, and also through the music to spend more, and that I don't know how much of that is internal. We can go back and forth. How much that is internal from within our community, and how much of it is external. But there's a lot of it that's internal.
Yeah, I'm actually using my media, and I use different creative ways to reach them. So J God Soul is literally a studio, so I have the ability to be creative, and so I use music, create community, bringing a lot of artists together through like open mics. They love going out to certain events. And so creating a safe space to open up this conversation has been very helpful. And a lot of the ones that I'm, working to definitely get them on the same page, they are starting to gravitate, but it's a slow pull, right? When they see someone that cares about them, they'll move a little closer, but then you're still influenced by your environment and the things that you hear on a constant basis. So we're creating spaces to make it look cool to move in the other direction. So one of the spaces that I'm actually at currently is called Green Pines Media, Green Pines co-working and event space. And so I connected with another former social worker who was doing social entrepreneurship, and she created a co-working space for creatives, but her main objective is to target the former foster youth and give them a place where they can be creative and they can actually get paid for their exceptional art. And so right now I'm actually in the Prince Room. This is one of the office spaces that they have out of this location, which is downtown Long Beach. And so we see a lot of them come here, and when they come here, they're like, it feels like home. And I feel like I have the ability to be creative. And so now we have the ability to create workshops to have these conversations with them in this space. So collaboration is also another way to try to reach them with someone else who's trying to reach the same, population as I am. And so we are actually using these relationships to build that community for these folks to get the access to the proper information that they need, and not consistently be indoctrinated with things that send them down the wrong path.
Cool. That's why it's so purple behind you.
Yes. This is the French Room, Purple Rain. Yes, my favorite one.
Your favorite? What's the second one?
It's a book space. They have a lot of nooks, and I like to read. So
Okay.
there's a space where there's a wall. They have a lot of murals, and there's a little girl reading, and I like to sit in the chair where she's reading, and I'll have a book, and just kind of sit there. It's just a great creative space.
Cool. Tia, you have a question or comment?
I do, and I'm having some Wi-Fi issues. So am I coming across okay, Greg?
Yes, so far. So-
Okay, so I may have missed this just I was going in and out, but age demographic that you focus on?
Yes,
Question. Go ahead.
yes, I'm focused on young adults from the age 18 to about 35.
Okay, 18 to 35. And then what are your methods of outreach into these this particular demographic? And are there ways that we can help support you with some of that outreach with our connections that we have?
Okay, I would love to talk more about connecting as well, but the way I reach a lot of my population is going to events that they attend, a lot of open mic events, or they go to different places and they perform around the city. And so I'll go to those spaces, and a lot of them probably seen me somewhere or another, and then start conversation. And so I tend to go to a lot of different events around the city to meet these people, and to open up these conversations. And a lot of times when they see Black Money Matters act like it, they're drawn to it, and it starts a conversation. So I literally just have to wear a t-shirt or a hat that says it, and then I keep the clothes a little bit stylish. So they're like, oh yeah, the word is they're dope. That's dope. And so we start a conversation from there.
Nice, nice. And outreach entailed any of the Black resource centers and spaces that are at our local universities?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Yeah, I know this Wi-Fi is crazy. Has your community, have you been able to connect Black resource centers that exist on our college campuses?
I did. I connected with one. I will be reaching out to others, but Cal State Long Beach Black Student Business Association. That's one of the ones I actually went down and talked to them. And we had a great conversation about credit. Because on college campuses, the credit they giving them credit cards and not giving them the information on how to use it. And so that was a really great conversation. And some of them were like, oh my God, I never thought about money this way. So it was very rewarding to see that this information is really, getting to the next generation.
Right, right. Wonderful. Well, I'll definitely connect with you and share some PRCs or maybe some connectors that will work with. So I'll put my email in the chat.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Jessica, you know I love you, girl, because you are right. You speak the same language that I speak as far as recycling Black dollars, and that is our issue. One of our major issues, not supporting our own. In some cases we do. I saw a kid the other day in Target, and he had on these funny looking shoes, and he told me they were Kanye's new shoes, and they cost him $300, and I'm like, okay. So being wise with one's money is important. I was with two young ladies on the 4th, and their father was really about investment. And so they were saying, Dad was saying, are you putting away 25% towards your retirement? And they're like, we got to live. What are you talking about, Dad? But Dad is really, really on. They all have investment accounts. So, it does start at the home. So, everyone knows that I work with kids between the ages of 12 and 18. And that's one of the components of the entrepreneur program, is teaching the kids how to manage money as business owners. And so it does start with our youth, but we have to start as young as 5. As soon as they're able to speak and they ask you for money, that's when we should be teaching our children about financial literacy. And in this case, we need to teach our adults that same thing, because I get that problem. I'm teaching adults how to manage their business finances, and they make bad decisions which have came from their childhood. So yeah, how can we help? I know I've spoken to a colleague of mine over at the Brotherhood Crusade. He works with that youth population that you're working with. I'd love to invite you with me. We're taking our kids to JA, Junior Achievement Financial Park, on I think it's third Wednesday or Thursday. If you're available, we'd love for you to come out. The kids at that point, they learn what it's like to have a job and take care of families and children and emergencies and things like that. And it's a very eye-opening experience for most of them. Most of them come away saying, I'm finishing college and I'm not having any children until I'm really late in life. And I'm going home and hug my mom and dad because this life is hard as an adult. So that's what they have to see, that once you become a real adult, money is tough.
Yes. I have a lot of friends who were struggling through adulting right now. Like, they call me every day and we're just having conversations. But yeah, a couple ways that I can be supported is subscribe to my YouTube channel, JAIGOTSOUL. I am currently doing a podcast. We are on season 3 of the Out of the Box podcast. So we can be seen visually on there, or if you prefer to listen anywhere else on any other platform, we are on all platforms. So you can just search J Got Soul on those platforms and check that out. This past weekend, we actually had the owner of this space that I'm in on the podcast to share what she's doing with the, former foster youth and what she's doing with this creative space. Yeah, and my website, our clothing brand, if you guys see anything you like, definitely support that way. And I'm open to any collaborations. I'm definitely open to collaborations. I think that, the more that we come together, the further we can go. So you can reach out to me via email. We could talk about that type of stuff. And yeah, those are some ways that I could be supported. I'm just grateful to be able to, have the opportunity to come and share on a community briefing.
Can you put your website in the chat? And do you also have social media platforms? Are you on Facebook, Twitter, IG, TikTok, any of that stuff?
Yes. So I am on Instagram. I have a couple Instagram. So I have J Got Soul Studio. I'll put all these in the chat. And then I have Black Money Matters Act Like It. And then I have my personal J Got Soul. I'm on Facebook. You can find me at Jessica McConico. And then I can be found on LinkedIn at Jessica McConico. And I believe that is it. So I will put the remaining links in the chat.
So what's next? What's on the horizon? What's in the incubator or the oven or in the laboratory?
It's a lot. Right now I'm working on a couple projects. We are doing a short docuseries for the young adults here at this space that are a part of the Green Pines Collective. And so we're working on finishing up that project. I am working on getting certified and working in the more so in the financial advisory coaching space, so I can broaden my education. That's what I love to do. I'm always reading and writing. And we are rebranding right now. So there's a lot of transition going on, under J Got Soul Studio. Very exciting, just very unpredictable, so, but yes, it's really exciting work and I'm seeing the impact and I'm getting a lot of feedback. So it's exciting.
See, is your hand up a second time or is that left over? I lost track.
No, I do have, when Crystal was speaking, made me think about how I educated my children, financial management and planning, et cetera, and because it wasn't something really talked about in my household, I kind of learned as I went along. So just wondering, as you work with that particular age group, have you been able or thought of best practices for parents as they're raising their children based on the things you've the youth that you're working with? Like, oh yeah, it'd be great if you learned this when you were, 5 or when you were in high school. So just a thought.
Yes. To be honest, I'm working with my family right now. I'm doing an inside job because my parents didn't have that information. And so because I am learning it, I feel a need to provide that information to them. And so as of recently, we've started having family meetings like every 2 weeks. We're sitting down talking about everybody's finances and working towards building that network. So I'm literally starting from home. And I really want to help other people do that because the conversation around money gets so tense, and it becomes very overwhelming, but it's very necessary, especially all the adults in the home knowing like, hey, you have a responsibility and you got to bear that. Someone else can't take care of your responsibility for you, so I'm definitely, working towards actually working with more families. That's why I want to, get into the certification space so I can actually start having family group sessions and just guiding them on the practices that I'm taking to get my family, in the right space. And this is a lot of work, because you got years of my parents being misinformed and doing things the wrong way. And now they're trying to change those habits, but it's a slow process, So yes, I definitely am working on just moving into that family space because if our family can build the net worth, I think we'll be better off.
Most definitely. I love that idea too. Thank you.
Yes.
Jessica, so when you were, so where did this come from? Being that you're working from within right now with the family, where was this inspiration? Because a lot of our young people today are not thinking like you are, unless they've actually been trained or that's been part of their upbringing.
Mm-hmm. I was the type of kid that paid attention to my parents very closely, and so when I was younger, my mom used to always say, "We don't have it, we don't have it, we don't have it." So I was just programmed to think we don't have it. So I have to actually do my part to make sure that I have it. So a lot of my pushing through college and all that, I wanted to take a burden off of my parents, but what it did was create more debt for me. But they didn't have to necessarily worry about me. But once I got out of college, I was like, wait, somebody called me, said, you got $500, you got to pay $500 a month for your student loans. I said, wait, I'm not even working to make that much. What is happening? So I got really curious and I just started asking a bunch of questions to people that called me, asking me for money. And I started learning like, okay, you guys are consolidating my loan. And I was just very fascinated with these terms and things like that. So I think it just became a natural curiosity. And then when I joined Pages the Reading Group, I'm reading more. And so I'm learning a lot more about history. I'm learning a lot more about money, but money was that topic where I was like, we don't have enough. That was programmed in my mind. I have to find a way to have more than enough. And so it just led me down that path. And I want to use what I know in terms of my educational background, psychology, and understand why, like my parents got to this place, how they mentally got here. And so everything just kind of came together. And I was like, I want to do this creatively because we're not listening to the certain terms right now, especially the young folks. They're not listening to this lingo that we speak in business or, things like that. So I want to make it very simple. But curiosity is really what started it all. And I just, once I get down a rabbit hole, I go as far as I can go.
I remember my parents divorced when I was 15, and my goal was to go to med school when we were on the East Coast. And of course, them divorcing when I was in 11th grade completely changed that whole picture. Mm-hmm. And we moved to the West Coast from New York, so 3,000 miles, and my mom had to start all over again. And now she was raising 3 children. But what I've found from other friends during the time, parents don't discuss their financial issues they say, I don't have it, but they don't tell you what was going on, right? So because I was old enough to understand what was happening, I recognized how well my mother budgeted to take care of 3 kids with a small, I mean, today it would be definitely poverty. But we did it. She managed to send us to school and do what she needed to do with that small. Many days she did not eat herself, but she let us know that, right, so that we'd have a better understanding of what that looked like. And that was the beginning of my career in the financial world, was because of the fact she was very open. But unfortunately, our parents, I mean, how many of your parents actually talked to you about what their household budgets were, other than to tell you to turn the lights out? How many, Greg, I know your dad did, but how many actually sat down and said, okay, here, we need to have a conversation, because this is how much money I got to start with, and this is how much we usually end up with at the end of the month. And so if your parent, but other parents, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day that, a lot of our parents, like, okay, I'm not going to have my children want for anything because I want it for everything. So they throw everything the kid asks for, they give them. So kids think that there's an open ATM somewhere and money just flows. As soon as it comes in the hand, it burns the pocket and goes right back out. And so I think that's some of the issues, is that parents are overdoing it and making sure that their children don't live the life they live. But we're who we are because of the lives that our parents lived. So I commend you. But yeah, this is that age group. And I know the 18 to 20, the age group, but I think it has to even be younger. It has to be younger.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Well, another contributing factor to it is that people visually don't see the money. Going back to, ancient times when I was a teen or 20s, the money was physical. You had, even before you had a bank account, you had dollars, and you had to find hiding places in your bedroom to put your money. It was either in the shoe, or it was in a shoebox, or something, someplace. You had to hide the money, and you physically had it. Now everything's on a little plastic card, so you lose track. The money comes in that way, and so that is a challenge to track it. Are you guys using any software or any apps? I think you mentioned something that was a spreadsheet, or is that Google Sheets, or what are you guys using to help them with that?
So we have a worksheet. It is available in PDF, and we also provide copies. We are going to move into using the Excel sheet type thing. So I'm going to develop a platform where they can actually put the numbers in and it computes for them. But right now we are manual, because I want them to see it. I want them to write it down. I really want them to look at their bank account and be able to track. So they're doing it manually now, but we will be upgrading very soon.
There's also, QuickBooks has a program called Mint, which is a personal budget program. That is excellent for them to see. I know I use a number of apps that monitor how my money is coming out, and one of them is called Rocket. And so I can see how much I'm spending every month through this, but I also use an accounting system, but that's one way. I'd like to introduce you. I was just talking to the president.
Hold up. Mint is free.
Yeah, Mint is free. Yeah, Mint
okay.
is
free. Or like the mattress guy, free. Okay.
Yeah, free. So Mint is an excellent program. So you might want to introduce that to them. You also could probably reach out to QuickBooks for that, or the QuickBooks, and become a provider for that program for the outreach to the community. They may have a lot of resources for you. Okay. In my understanding, the Urban League just created a relationship with Intuit. Okay. So I can introduce you to them. I also was having a conversation about you to the CEO of Black Women's Network. They're trying to bring in younger populations, but this is a conversation that they've been around a long time, and this is a conversation that they've been having with their members. I think you should also reach out to a lot of the sororities. I know the Alpha Kappa, they did last month, they did a whole campaign on recycling Black dollars. So their goal was to raise $8 million in that month through all of the chapters. So I can introduce you to some of them, because these are the young kids coming in from college. That's really where it starts. So that would be a great part of what they're doing. And I think they do have something of that nature, but maybe your program could be. And if any of the rest of us have connections that would be great for her, to organizations that we belong to, especially women's groups. And maybe we can make that introduction for Jessica, and then she can kind of start building a program. I'd also say, Jessica, in your thing, kids that are coming out and really getting it, one of the programs that I use, Nifty, we actually bring our young kids that have come through our entrepreneur program back into the fold. They become alums. But we have a young lady right now working with us, and she's going to college, but she's now has a fellow with Nifty. And now she's going back out to continue on to be an ambassador to the program, to other programs. So that's a way you also can do. Once you train them and teach them and expose them, then get them incorporated in to build your team that way.
Yes. Okay. That sounds good. That'd be the Black Money Matters movement.
Yeah. Reach one, build one. Yeah. Awesome.
Quick question: what's the gender mix of your those who are going through your program, male, female?
We definitely have more females than males. Yeah, but I find that the young males that we do have, they're very focused. So yeah, but we are predominantly female.
Are you getting better reception from the women than the young men?
Yes, they're more willing to reach out. They are more interested. And then some of them also, started families early, so they need this information to make sure that they can have something to make sure that their children are okay. So, but we are predominantly women. The males, yeah. They're taking a longer time to get around.
Yeah, we need them to come around though, because once they start having kids, that's a whole different ball game. Well, we want to definitely thank you. What an awesome! I love the work you're doing. This is kind of how my career has always gone, with helping out our community and really focusing on the issues that are really troublesome in the Black community. And I personally, I don't know about the rest of y'all, I'm so tired of looking at us on the bottom of the charts. I don't know what to do. I just, it really bothers me. So, cause we're just we have so much, we're so bright. And if we put it to the right place and was able to move, we could move us out of this place. But we got to come together to work together to make it happen. It has to be a collaborative effort. One can't do this by themselves.
Yes, we definitely can do it. We did it before. Yes. And that's why I'm excited about the future.
Well, however you need my help, I'm going to introduce you to a couple of people. And if anyone else has someone that they should be introducing her to, I think Tia says she's going to reach out to you. Just fantastic. And this was even more when you were on the business zone. So girl, I fall in love with you more and more each time I talk to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, I boil things down that people will fall into three categories: people that are making a difference, looking to improve things, make things better. Majority of people just aren't doing anything at all. And then you got a group of people that are actually making things worse. All right. So if you're in that top category where you're helping to make a difference, and as far as I know, I believe everybody on this call is in that group of making a difference. That's why you're here. That's why you contribute. That's why you're doing the things that you do. So, we might be frustrated sometimes at the direction or the lack of progress, and we just need to move some of the people that are doing nothing to get them to do something. All right, it's going to be challenging to get the people that are intentionally doing things to make things worse. That's a harder group to reach. But a lot of folks out here are doing absolutely nothing, and to be able to migrate them into the group that are taking their efforts to make a difference. And Jessica, you are, so we're proud of you, and we applaud what you're doing. Thank you for that, and so that's awesome. So give Jessica a round of applause. Woo-hoo.
Yes, Miss Jessica. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Next week, guys, we have Dr. Michelle Turner. She's coming in to talk about how the reading of the affirmative action is going to affect the school. She is, excuse me, a higher education administrator. She's with USC, Rosser School of Education at the University of Southern California. So that should be a great conversation. She's the Associate VP Business Diversity and Equity Economy Opportunity at USC. And so that should be a great conversation. I am going to say this to everyone, though. We right now need to really be gearing up, and for the elections coming in 2024, we need to make sure we get every able-bodied, crippled, crazy person at the voting booths to make sure that we don't get any of these lunatics in office, because we're going to suffer greatly, more so than we have been. So we need to make sure we're encouraging everyone that we know to get to the polls and get actively involved in it as well. This is a serious election. There's some major things, not just here in this country. I just came back from the UK. They got problems all over the world. I have friends in South Africa. This whole world seems to be against people of color. And so people of color really need to stand up, and our voices need to be heard, but we can't do it individually. We have to create a collective voice, but every person of color around the world is in danger right now. So
It's nothing new. I mean, this has been around for a long time. We're just more aware of it now because of news and social media. But this isn't like some new attack or anything like that. This has been ongoing. So yeah, people sometimes acting like this is new. This is not new.
no, it's not new. It's been 400
We're
years,
just
but
more aware of it,
we
and
don't
you're
have a
right, voting.
strategy to work against it.
Exactly.
That's the
And voting is
problem.
a big piece of it. I keep saying
Yeah.
that all the time.
Yeah.
In off seasons or off elections, off year elections, or like the odd year like this one coming up, the voter turnout of registered voters in the black community tends to be down in the low 20%, 20, 21, 22%. We had a higher turnout not long ago, but it was still in the mid 30s, 34, 35, 36 of registered voters, let alone the ones who have not registered. So the power is there, the ability is there. We just have, again, those who are making a difference, those that are doing nothing, and those that are making things worse. The majority of our community is just doing nothing. They're just going about, living their lives and, spending and hanging out and having a good time, traveling. Like, they're not spending money on merchandise. They're spending the money that they don't have to go on vacation so they can put pictures on Facebook to say, "Oh, look at me, look where I am." So I'm in the
Yeah,
south of France.
we just have to have
Yeah.
strategy. But I will tell you, to be different if Ron DeSantis get in there, because you see what he's doing to the state of Florida. He will have all of us back on a plantation somewhere picking cotton. So and that ain't no hyperbole. That's the real deal. So with him, I think he's I've heard him equated to George Wallace. That's some serious stuff when you in this day and age. So just to say that we just do need a strategy, and they're making policy changes, they're making legislation changes. That's where it's different. That's from the early after post-slavery. That's what happened. So we have to be able to also put ourselves in position to make legislation changes and policy changes, because that's where the protection comes from. We want to wish you guys a happy rest of your day, and we will see you next week. Please go tell some friends, join, and go to our YouTube channel as well. Hit that subscribe button.
That's it. Hit the button.
Both of the Crenshaw Symposium corridors, Crenshaw Corridor Symposium, both parts, part 1 and 2, is up on YouTube. So please go over and check it out if you weren't able to attend. They're both up there now. So see you guys. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.
And thank all of you that have